Hello friends, welcome to this session. I'm Sanyukta Saxena and this is the second session wherein we will be drawing, we will be exploring more of this Tangle Pouyang, right? This is a new tangle launched by Zentangle headquarters and we are going to be exploring this tangle during this series. So what I'm going to do is again, going to add a light-handed border to my Zendala here. And in the last session, we drew the tangle as is, the way it is generally drawn, the way it is suggested to be drawn. As I explained, it looks like a gorgeous stuck inside a pepper. Today, we will try and add a little bit of variation, right? So let us first start with the tangle itself and then we shall see if we want to add something more and we want to add more tangles. So I am starting right away. And first, instead of a simple end, just like gorgeous, I have given it a nice mocha end. And then again, I'm going to add a wider section. Again, add an aura. Working with my micron O1. Again, add a wider section. Again, add a thinner aura. Again, go back, add a wider section. Again, add a thinner aura. You can choose to draw the way you wish to. Right? A small little tangulation to the way we draw the tangle generally. Yeah? So, you can give any variation, right? So again, I'm going to add ink to these onion shapes. So I'm going to use my O8 here. Right, so there's a bunch of mocha hanging in there. It could be any tangle. I thought of adding mocha. You can add any other tangle that you feel like, just fescues, sprinkles, zingers, right? So just explore, but explore slowly, one by one. First, learn to draw the basic tangle, then start exploring it. Yeah. So gorgeous looks its best with these bold inked portions. I just simply love it this way. I always ink it. Right? So you can choose to ink it till the place you wish to. And again, some more like this. Yeah, so if you want, you can add a layer here also. It will look more complete. Like this. Yeah. So now that we have drawn our gorgeous with mocha, now I'm going to extend it the second stage. Right, so let's now add that wheel. So now again, you can either go the way pepper goes or you can just create a small little variation here. So I'm just adding lines with some weight at the end. Right, small things that can vary the look of the tangle. So take your time and just replace the strands or bands that you draw for your pepper with these. right? So you can either choose to change the direction of these weights, or you can just go around like in the same fashion, right? So take your time, do that exercise. Right, so we are done. Probably a small one here is a good idea, and some bit of inking here makes it look more complete. Yeah, and then comes the next part, the third part, which looks like an extension. So I'm just going to extend it again, give a mocha head, fewer here, probably here too would be enough. There is not much space here. That's it. I think we don't need to add more. Yeah, so I'm just going to ink. Yeah, so I'm almost done with that. Adding one more layer here, and if you want you can add some more mochas, entirely up to you. Some escaping from here, your choice. You can draw behind a few. And I think we are done. Our Pouyang is ready. Yeah. So now let us move to the other part of our tile, right? Now it is up to us. How do we want to proceed further? So whole lot of tangles that you can choose from. So let's go with a simple tangle called hollowbog. Right, so I'm just going to extend it on the other side. So I've started with random lines, parallel lines, started with a tangle called hollowbog, a Zentangle original, yeah, and then just not thinking much where what, just drawing lines wherever I feel like. Right, so just take your time and draw lines as you feel like. You definitely don't need to follow the exactly in the same manner as I am doing. So just draw lines the way you feel like. Right, so basically we are drawing the tangle hollowbog, and I'm just placing random lines. Right, now up to you which other tangle you want to add, or you want to just keep it simple. Ink the rest of the space. Right, so we will go with a mix. Right, so once we are done with that, now let us add a few more tangles. So let us first add a little bit of coffering, right? So I'm just going to add a coffered look. So what I am doing is using all the corners, adding a dot, joining those dots to the corner of the space and to each other, right? So dot, dot, dot and dot. Join these dots with each other and with each of the corners, right? So that's what I'm doing here. A very nice tangle enhancing technique. The coffered look inspired from the coffered ceilings, right? So take your time and do that exercise for each of the sections created in between your hollow block. Take your time and I will do that exercise. So once you are done with that exercise, very small little places, just squeeze in an orb and you are sorted. That's the best fragment, that's the best way I think to fill up that space. Just squeeze in an orb and ink the rest. Right, so I'm doing that for all the small little spaces that I see. The bigger ones we will add some other tangle probably. Yeah. Yeah. So once you are done with that, now the rest of the space, again choose a tangle of your choice, your go-to tangles. First let us place some bit of bronze shears in these corners, small little spaces left there. You can always add some caviars also. Bronze shears is always a good idea. You can always add a stem also. Yeah. So whichever way you feel like. So the rest of the bigger sections I am just going to add Crescent Moon. Right, so simple tangles that we are using other than our Pouyang. Moons and then auras, one to each, looks just like a fragment like this. So as many corners, as many moons, but you can add in between also. So no hard and fast rules here. I'm doing what I feel like. I always do what I feel like. Yeah, that's the way to be. As far as Zentangle is concerned, choose your go-to tangles. Draw what you feel like. Avoid pre-panning your tile. This series is about Pouyang, so we are using that tangle, but rest of the tangles is more or less what is coming to my mind at this point of time. As I keep mentioning, I always try and plan because I am recording live, but it always turns out something else only, so I stopped doing that. Yeah. You start drawing and then you feel that something else looks better, or you don't feel like drawing what you decided. So I'm just adding moons and auras, nothing else. And take your time and do that exercise for the sections that are left. Yeah. Slowly go to each. You can draw any other tangle, printums, poke roots, poke leaves, whatever you feel like. Yeah. So I have added Crescent Moon. Now let us move on to shading, right? So all those sections have been filled with Crescent Moon. As I mentioned, you can always go with some other tangle also. So I'm now adding shading to my hollow block. So I'm adding graphite on two ends and at the intersections. Now when it comes to coffering, you can always add one more aura inside, right? So it's up to you how many layers of auras, right? You can always add one more layer of aura inside. So I'm adding at both ends, I'm adding at intersections. Take your time and add the graphite carefully to each of the intersections. So right, so let's first shade this much and then we shall see if we want to add more. Yeah, so I'm going to blend first. So again, when you're blending, just make sure the center remains white. Don't blend too much, must leave a highlight. Shading the coffered look is also a great exercise. It's pretty exciting. You can shade it in different ways. If you have more layers created inside, 2 or 3 layers, with auras, then it's a totally different experience to shade it. This is simple coffering, just a tangle enhancer where I've added a layer inside my hollow box sections. Take your time and slowly go to each of the intersections. Blend the graphite. Don't forget to leave that highlight. Yeah. So since we have not added too much layer inside, so I'm not getting into the inside. We will just add some touches to our crescent moon. Not too much. In the center, where there is little space. Yeah. So just touching the center where the orbs are a little bigger, you can always add a touch of graphite. Moving on to our Pouyang. Yes, the mocha heads. Always a good idea. And then just the way we shaded last time. So places from where lines are emerging, a slight touch. So done with my shading. Now small little things that you can always do is to add little weight to the second line of your hollow block. Will definitely add to the look of your tile. Right? So a little weight there. Go to each and make that effort. You can do that while you are drawing the tangle. But these small little things which are more of like embellishments, you do it generally later on once you see what more can you do to your tile. So adding a little weight will definitely add to my tile. So I am doing that exercise. Do it at your own pace. You want to add something else, you can do that. Right? So now is the time for some highlights. So pick up your white chalk and add some white chalk. Right, and a highlight here, and then use a different blending stub and just soften the chalk. Make sure the ink is dry. A little touches of chalk here. Not much. And some bit of graphite here. Just to blur the background. Like this. Yeah, so that's our tile for today. Another little added, little embellished version of Pouyang, a fun tile. Just explore more. We will do that during this series. Right? So that's it. I'm going to close my tile here. Don't forget to put in your chop. Do sign and date it. Today is 3rd. Right? And I shall see you again in another new session. Till then, have a good time. Bye-bye.